the Eagle Badger podcast.
But that takes us very, very smoothly into 2023 electioneering, politicking. Everything seems to be pointing in that direction. All policy actions coming from government, coming from the PDP, Nigeria's main opposition party, coming from even non-political actors. I don't know, what you think about that whole conversation. It's swirling. It seems to, we initially started with an agitation that, the presidency should be zoned to the southeast. Political actors seem to have expanded it to mean or to suggest that the presidency should be zoned to the south, not just the southeast. We have hawks in the north saying that democracy is a game of numbers, and it's never handed to anybody on a plate or a platter of gold, which is true. We're having rumblings within the APC and a very public split between the ACN faction and the CPC faction. But even within the PDP, rather than, I think, taking advantage of these house of cards that falling around the APC's heads, and the PDP itself seems to be caught in contestation for 2023, again around the North-South argument. And we seem, and the PDP seems to be as immobilized as the APC is, just by the ambitions of a few good men. So I don't know what when you look at Nigeria and look at 2023, what sort of resonates for you? What does your crystal ball tell you?
I think the road to 2023 is something that is of a priority to the Eagle Badger. And I think that it's worth interrogating everything that should be interrogated, on this road to 2023. And that's why I first said that issue of answer should be, on the ballot. You see, I must say that there will be intense agitation coming from the southern part of this country for 2023. And the core north is bent on actually keeping the power, but unfortunately, it's going to be very, very difficult simply because of the performance of the current administration. And it's obvious that more, from a non-core, northerner, as a president during Obasanjo's time, and including Jonathan's, both former president. And so it's really very, very, important that we set the agenda as an organization sometimes, for us not just to leave it for these political players, because one thing that we know is that we may not still be able to get the truth out of them. However, I think Nigerians must now be interested who becomes their president. There should be a sort of a social contract between those who are seeking for office, and the people that the electorate who actually is going to exercise their franchise to be able to vote for them. There must be, that understanding on the part of the people. So 2023 is going to be very significant. I believe that there should be a sense of justice, fairness, in Nigeria. And that's why someone like me have repeatedly said that, look, we should have somebody from the southeast, as the president of Nigeria, even though it's not cast in stone yet, because the agenda is that it should be for the entire South. However, but for national justice. I also don't have objection, for instance, if we have people from the minorities in the north actually rooting it, because when you look at it, if not because of wrong carving, of the geography, there's Kogi and Kwara probably have been in the southern part of Nigeria, they are really more of the south than of the north. So 2023 is going to be very, very interesting also. And I think that
you seem to be speaking very specifically about Saraki?
Yeah, not just only Saraki, not only just Saraki. For instance, like I talked about Obada Melafia, at the point in time, because it's somebody who has also shown interest in the presidency. I've also looked at, for instance, now this man is saying he's interested, irrespective of all that we've said, even though he's trying to be mischievous about it. Yaya Bello, because of course Yaya Bello will be saying he's interested in the presidency of Nigeria. I haven't seen that Buhari is a failure, and you can't blame him for trying to hop and jump off it. And you can't, because the Nigerian House is what do you call it, is constitutionally eligible, to aspire. So it's not just only Saraki. Saraki, yeah, it's a good candidate from the North Central, from the minority in the North, a Yoruba man that is a northerner that's a Yoruba man destabilized and all of that. That's there. We also have, couple of, we have even the sitting vice president. Just like I've told some people. That's why, and I think we should have also talked about what Pastor Tunde Bakari said recently, which is totally, very, very disturbing, moving from Buhari, now trying to drag us to Tinubu. And that was why I said you could liken this to a spirit of witchcraft. If you have a man who is setting standard.
Hang on. Tinubu is from the Southwest. What is wrong with the Tinubu presidency? Away from Bakari and his opinions, what is wrong with the Tinubu presidency?
Yeah, what is wrong with the Tinubu's presidency? Let me make it very clear, absolutely clear is this. You see, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is an old man like Buhari. He's going to run an administration that, what we're going to have is people using the office of the president to peddle influence. The man is old and tired. And there are lots of things that are not known to Nigerians, about him, controversies and all of that. And how do we move from a Buhari, to a Tinubu? Look, the most important project in Lagos State conceived by Asiwaju Tinubu, even though that project was initially terminated by General Buhari as a military administrator, that's the Lagos Metro Rail. This is 2020. My brother, this is 2020. That Lagos Metro Rail, has more or less become moribund. Spanning 4 administrations. Tinubu brought Fashola. Tinubu brought Ambode. Tinubu brought Folulag, Sanwo-Eko, Sanwo-Olu. Now, so look at that. That's the most important project they've been unable to complete in Lagos State. So when he talks about even performance and all of that, we can't see it. Look at Lagos. Lagos should be self-sustaining in terms of the capacity that is in Lagos, as a state. Lagos should be like a country within a state, just like California, in America. So what I'm saying is that
Lagos is a country within a state, just like California.
You said?
Lagos does outperform almost every other state in Nigeria.
No, Lagos should be towering. Lagos is like you're doing freebies in terms of economic development. Lagos is just there, competing with non-viable states. See, Lagos should be talking about billions of dollars economy, not Lagos state government realizing 36 billion naira monthly. How much is 36 billion naira monthly in today's world? So that's exactly what I'm talking about. I have nothing against anybody who has the constitutional right, but I think, hey, Pastor Tunde Bakari cannot be telling us that we should bring the best of the North and best of the South, and be telling us to move from Buhari to, Asiwaju Tinubu. In fact, Fayemi, who is also contesting, which we have said, even though, and let me also say this, also. Do you know, and that's my worry, the entire south of Nigeria, from south-south to southeast to southwest, do you know that it is only 2 people who believe in presidency or nothing? Just 2.
Who are those?
Tinubu and Osibajo. Osibajo, by happenstance, is currently the vice president. So the only thing he's going to accept is a president. Tinubu is not angling for VP, is presidency. But from Fayemio to Peter Obio to Amechi, to name them, all of them are comfortable to be,
You conveniently skipped Atiku.
Vice president. Yeah, Atiku is from the north. I talked about the south. You see, I have nothing against anybody, but I don't think that, and I've made this very passionate statement, that look, Atiku, Tambuwal, and others were the same people who went to APC and made Buhari president in 2015. Bearing in mind that Buhari wins, he was going to spend 8 years in office. Now, this is the second lap of, of his administration. And now the same people are now saying and trying to blackmail the PDP into, saying that PDP has not produced its own northern president. That is mischievous. You left PDP to APC to coronate a president. You return to PDP to now blackmail the PDP that PDP must also give it to the North. And I think, let me say this, there will be a lot of agitation coming. And I think one thing that for us at Igu Baja, I think we have to make it very clear is that I think we have to continue to speak for justice, cohesion, unity, because this country is better if we are one entity, indivisible, and working, for the prosperity of our nation and prosperity of every one of us. That should be our preoccupation. But we need good leadership. We want leadership, leadership that will resonate with the people. So, for instance, and again, there is also a lot of disappointment, in the horizon. I saw your friend distributing 10 biscuits with pure water sachet. And I think Professor Kingsley Moghalu, probably if he has opportunity of listening to the podcast, is that look, it's a fine gentleman. He has CV, the reputation. He should be the youth candidate, but he should stop scoring own goals. It's better not to have that party than to have something that will continue to undermine your reputation. Look, it is not a problem. Don't make people believe that so that they will not say you don't have money. It's not a problem if you get bottled water for all those kids. It's not a problem for those kids to have been properly hosted, all sorts of things like that. And I think it was very sad when I saw the comment of people, about everything that transpired. So Peter Obi, it's a good candidate, but Peter Obi has been forever living under the shadow of Atiku. He's not coming out, to stake his claim to what. And let me now say this on this 2023 final. If care is not taken, Tinubu is going to have it. Now, this is the game here. And I think my brothers in the South should understand. North is not going to have it because the agitation will be too hot for the North. Now, when the agitation becomes so intense, if the South is, serious candidates are not at the table, when there's going to be serious negotiation, the Southwest is still going to get it. Because while some of the guys from the Southeast are only positioning themselves for BP, Tinubu, Osibajo, those ones are looking for presidency. Now, by the time the agitation will become so intense, leaders of note and all of that get up together in this country, APC, PDP, and still think that, look, we have to keep this country, and to keep Nigeria, we must allow the southern part of the country to produce the presidency. And unfortunately, it may be too late, for the Southeast. And so it's important that those who have this presidential ambition, the South, should start talking about it now. Why people are talking about the 2023 now is because Buhari is not there. The administration is not working. So the only thing is just a way of demonstrating hope that, look, let's look forward to something that is coming. So I believe that these are part of the things that this podcast, Igu Baja podcast, should actually help the people to understand what is actually unraveling, in the polity. It's going to be an interesting days ahead. But even don't forget that the intelligentsia, when I mean the word the intelligentsia, those who are security conscious and all, like you could serve this one and others, they are aware of what is coming. And that is why a part of them is also wooing ex-president Jonathan to come and do 4 years. They not want to keep power forever. But they would look at, okay, we can do 4 years with Jonathan and still come back and retain power, because the North knows how to, blackmail the entire country into getting power. They know how to do that. They have the capacity to blackmail them. It's just the South that always takes things easy, but I don't think the South is going to take it easy now. So likely the loser is going to be PDP if PDP doesn't pick a Southern candidate, because that is going to be, the end game of this, agitation. But I want to see a quality person as president of Nigeria, like Peter Obi, somebody who's frugal, somebody who will not be mounting anti-corruption just for the sake of mounting it, somebody whose responsibility will be solving problems. So this is a nation that can assemble the best of the North and the best of the South, to solve our problems. So also, I think it's important that we make this absolutely clear to Nigerians that, look, agitation is coming.
So let me be a little bit controversial.
Okay.
I don't think people like Atiku, just like people like Buhari, I don't really think they have anything to offer Nigeria today. And I say that because there happens to, and we saw it with Buhari, you get to a point where you are so set in your ways that regardless of the problem you're faced with, you have a briefcase of solutions that you are going to apply, to that situation. Whether it's a recession, whether it's a budgetary surplus, whether it's inflation, whether it's insecurity. If Buhari becomes president in another 20 years, God forbid, if he runs again and becomes president, he will act in the same exact manner he acted in 84, in 2015, and in 2040. And my worry with some, people like Atiku is that, not just the world, but Nigeria has advanced, I think, past the world they knew in 1999. And, for me, we do have people who are able, who are young, not just in body, but in mind, who are constantly learning, who are constantly improving themselves. So you mentioned Mogalu. Mogalu might not be an astute politician, but he's a very competent, he would be, I think, a very competent leader in the mode of Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, for instance. Nigeria's crisis is not just a security crisis, it's also an economic one. And I think when you look at the list of people, potential presidential candidates, Mogalu, as he was in 2015, is still would still be the most competent, the most technically competent candidate on the ballot. Then you have people like Saraki, who have held executive office, who have held legislative leadership office. He's educated, he's a doctor, he is well-traveled, he has kept his networks and connections, he has stayed in touch with the youth. I recall he appointed a young man he had never met, Ilemuna Onoja, as his spokesperson at the time when he was running for president in 2019, I think it was, during the PDP primaries. And I think he could very successfully be the face of, a resurgent Nigeria. Further south, if we want to look at the South, you have, a person like Seyi Makinde, the current governor of Oyo State, who is, far and above, the best governor we have in Nigeria to date. And it's not because he's reinventing the wheel. He's a billionaire. He was a billionaire before he came into office. And he's employing just common sense, pragmatic principles to governance. And you get the sense that he is in office just to serve. And if he again took that sense or spirit of effectiveness and efficiency and service to Aso Rock, I think he would be able to fundamentally restructure Nigeria, just not just the way we are as a nation when I talk about restructuring, but just the direction we seem to be headed now. He appears to be doing it in Oyo State. And I think he seems to have given people of Oyo State a sense of pride and hope that you don't see other governors give their citizens. And I will also mention, because I have mentioned most people in the PDP apart from Mogalu. I'll also mention Zulum in Borno, who appears also to be cut from that cloth of inspirational um, leadership. The jury is still out for me on Governor Fayemi of Ekiti State. He's a brilliant man. I think he's playing a little bit too much politics now. And so it might be clouding or distracting from him actually delivering on the governance. And that would be the platform I think, he needs to climb to become president of Nigeria. But again, we do have young or relatively young, intelligent, visionary leaders dotted across the country. I kind of hope that these leaders are pushed forward. Again, just aside from just the necessity of playing politics, just the fact that Nigeria is in dire straits, we are in a crisis situation. I hope, the politicians, the gatekeepers of our politics realize this and maybe for the first time since 1999 bring forward a leader who they think will rescue Nigeria from the rocks we seem to be headed inevitably towards.
Yeah, I agree with you. They are very perfect analysis of it. So, but we need to have, like Ose has done, is to extract potential presidential hopeful. And it's good to do that so that people can have, a mind of where they're actually looking forward to. So it's a good development.
Yeah, there was something interesting that happened in November, I think it was. There was a senatorial by-election in Lagos East. And this was immediately after the Lekki shootings, when soldiers came to Lekki and opened fire on unarmed protesters. And interestingly enough, the Lekki, this Lagos East Senatorial District also includes the Lekki area.
Yeah.
And what happened at that election was that, for whatever reason, the APC candidate won a resounding landslide, against the PDP candidate. And I think it took most election observers by surprise, because, you would assume that with, the current direction of the country, and especially what happened on the 20th of October, that the APC was dead as a political party. Their outcome at these elections, this senatorial by-elections, a few weeks later, put spade to that dream. So the APC is definitely on the ballot at the subnational level. So the APC is still in control of Lagos. I think they're still in control of Borno, of Zamfara. Most of the northern states, they still hold a lot of control. I still think they will contest the Southwest. It's not a PDP enclave. I think they will not allow the PDP sweep the ballots in the South. The North Central, again, is more APC than PDP. I think, maybe politicians need to realize that the APC is a viable political platform. Still is. We have seen PDP governors and members move from the PDP to the APC. And I think we will continue to see this movement, maybe not just in the direction of the PDP like we thought would happen, but we will continue to see people denied space in the PDP look for space, not in third, fourth parties, but look for space in the APC. And it probably is good for our democracy that going into 2023, the APC is still on the ballot.
Sure. No, I agree. I agree totally with that, and I think that's what is worth doing. It's worth doing well. And like I said, Eagle Badger will always be there to x-ray these issues, to give you, for us to also get feedback from you to interrogate, issues, in our nation. So basically, I agree with you. All we need to do now is to ensure, that the people are able to get the kind of leaders, they're looking for. And that's why we have been also talking about issue of electoral reform. Electoral reform, for us to have good a legal framework around our elections. National Assembly has promised to pass the Electoral Act on or before 31st of March 2021. However, apart from the fact that the overarching benefit of this bill, but one also very important thing is the fact that we want to have this bill, in place a reasonable time ahead of Anambra governorship election, which is happening in 2021, so that we are able to test run the practicality of some of the sections that have been amended or introduced. So I believe that it's something that we will continue to talk about, and what you call it, push for us to have free, fair, and credible elections in Nigeria, which is very, very, important. Also.